And another reason that I know people are voting in his direction is, again, simply because he represents to them, this is all my opinion, or my observation. I'm not saying it's fact or anything, but my observation is that he represents anti-system. They feel that that the system has changed and it's not in their favor anymore. And they feel that we need to radically change the system. And in many ways, again, oh my gosh, I've got so many levels to all of this. But in my opinion, Bernie Sanders would have been the positive side of the coin. He would have been the positive side of major changes and good things that would happen, that would be for all Americans. And on the other flip of the coin, then you have Donald Trump, who is instilling fear. He's basically making people feel like, you vote for me and I will not let terrorists move into your garage, or I won't let the Mexicans come move into your garage and take all your stuff. And he's planting all of these false fears in people that it would never happen, but they're scared. They don't know what the system has been shaken, and a lot of people feel very uneasy. So they would rather go with someone who has no affiliation with government than somebody who represents the system. And also her record, and they believe everything he says about how horrible she is. And granted, she's no angel at all. And she's made mistakes, and she's lied, and she's done all these things. She's flip-flopped with the LGBT community, for example. But and they just don't trust her, and they don't like her, and they will not vote for her, even though she's got 30 years of public service. 30 years she has been serving the public. He has 0. He hasn't even been dog catcher. He has never done anything for anybody or anyone else on this planet except for himself. So, you asked for opinions.
I'm glad to hear that. That's a really good point. I think, because do you think, just hypothetically, and
sure.
I hate saying this sometimes because it sounds with this sort of "I told you so" tone, but that's not what I mean to have. But how do you think this election would be right now if Bernie Sanders was the Democratic nominee?
I think Bernie would be cleaning up. I think there would be such a spread that he would have knocked that bully on the first debate. He would have knocked that bully to the ground on that playground, which is exactly what she was too fearful of doing. She should. That's the way you handle a bully. You walk in, you knock him out, and you knock him down, and he will be scared to get back up and face you again.
And why do you think that Bernie Sanders was uniquely capable to do that?
Bernie, the thing I love about Bernie is, and respect about that man, is he has been, everything that he has said in his campaign, he has been saying since the 1980s that this is what needs to be done, and he has been fighting for those things for this entire time. And he has been standing on the side of good and hope and positive changes and what would be good for American people, the American people. Trump is just the opposite, on the opposite side of that coin, where he instills fear, not hope. He instills fear and tries to scare people into voting for him. Vote for me and I'll save you. I'm surprised he didn't say, vote for me and I'll give you $100. I swear to God, he's trying everything. And Bernie Sanders, I think, you would have seen those polls tipping. It would have been a ridiculous landslide, in my opinion. In my opinion.
That is interesting, and it's interesting because a lot of people noted the overlap between Bernie Sanders and Trump in the sense of taking on the establishment and in that degree. But
they both represented changes to the establishment.
But
Bernie would have given real solutions.
No, that's a very good way of putting it.
And then you match up, but it didn't turn out that. Now you match up Clinton against Trump. Nobody knows who to believe. It's a completely different dynamic. Bernie would have come out the gate with just, this needs to be done, that needs to be done, this needs to be done. What are you going to say about it? What have you got to say? What are you going to do? and I guarantee Trump would have been not been able to fight back.
Yeah. It's interesting because the governor of Indiana, your home state, Mike Pence, is the running mate. What's your opinion as someone from Indiana? What is your opinion on him? Is there anything we should know about him before we cast our votes tomorrow?
Honestly, I have lived out in New York City for over 30 years. I had never even heard of Mike Pence until that, because I don't follow their politics, because they're usually very conservative, which is fine. But so that therefore I don't have any commonality with the governing of that state. So I had never even heard of him until he picked him. And then I started doing research, and I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
What a winner we got here. But in my opinion, just real quick, the Republican Party, which kind of represents older white people that, and especially men, older white men that have ran this country and ran the establishment, and basically the Latino community, the African American community, all of these other communities now are starting to rise in the percentage of our population. Yeah. And in a way, the white America is beginning to feel shrinkage, that they're not going to be the majority before much longer, and they're scared. They don't know what to do. They feel that they're losing their grip on controlling this country, losing their grip on their livelihoods, on their lives, and they don't know. And that, I think, is the basis of their fear. And that is also, that's why Trump is giving them permission for this bigotry and this hatred. And he's just feeding into that fear and instability of the change that is coming, and they don't realize that all of this change is a wonderful thing. It really is, where we all work together, and we're all one, and we unify, and we're all just Americans.
I like that a lot. But it is a good observation. I find what's so difficult is that you have this demographic change where whites are becoming a smaller percentage of the population, and at the same time, this terrible double whammy, in my opinion, is that you also see wage stagnation, you see an incredible inequality of wealth.
Yes.
So there's this, I feel like this demographic, I feel like these economic problems of having, low employment, no increase in wages or real income growth, and incredible inequality where you see people on Wall Street making, vastly more than people on Main Street. I feel like that is coming at the worst possible time where you also have this demographic change. And so you see how working class white Americans must feel really imperiled, They
Absolutely. And again, they seem to, the Trump campaign is wonderful at deflection. At look over there.
Right.
He's P.T. Barnum. He really is. And I lost my train of thought. But
about the sense of imperiled working class whites.
And economically, they don't realize that it's more in the corporate world than in the government.
Right.
Even though the government caters to the corporations, and that's one of the things that needs to change. But I've noticed things like the heads of corporations, and I think we've even had this discussion before, where like the heads of corporations, in my observation, this year they might be making $100 million. Well, next year they want to make $110 million,
right?
And for their life, and as an income. Well, where's that extra $10 million going to come from if the corporation hasn't shown as many profits?
Right.
It's going to trickle down to the workers and the laborers, and they are going to not give them a raise next year, and they will give themselves a $10 million raise at the top.
Right.
And that's where a lot of this is happening, but the workers don't know that. All they realize is, we're not getting a thing. Where's our president? What's he going to do with us?
Right.
Trump, he's a businessman. He'll save us. And that's where it's very dangerous, I think. And a lot of people are expecting this, what appears to be a successful businessman, even though he's not, that he's going to make them rich. That they're going to make lots of money if he's elected president.
Right.
And that it's a very frightening election. It
Yeah.
really, really is, because you've got a lot of that misunderstanding going on out there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And as a New Yorker, is there anything you would say in terms of what New Yorkers should do when they go to the polls tomorrow? Is there any particular issue or candidate that you feel strongly about, or think we should keep in mind about the direction that our city is headed in?
Well, again, New York is primarily a Democratic state, or at least the city anyway. The city is. So I'm sure it will continue to be Democratic. So nothing I'm going to say is going to change that.
Right.
But I do ask people across the country, this is not you're not just flipping a switch for the presidency. You are flipping a switch for the Congress, too.
Right.
And it is a chance to change the course, because the Republicans, again, the older, rich, white men in power have already said, they've already drawn the line in the sand and said they are not going to, they're going to continue to do the same thing they've been doing and not cooperate if Hillary is brought in. That is the stupidest stuff ever, and that's unconstitutional. They are refusing to approve Supreme Court justice that Obama has recommended. That is unconstitutional. That is their job. And they're saying that they will, if she's elected, they are not going to do it. They're not going to cooperate with her. They're not. Well, then fine, get out. And get somebody in there that will. That will continue to do what's best for the people. I'm so tired of this system where people put their party ahead of what's best for the American people. They will vote against something good just because, well, that's what the other party wants. It's the most stupidest thing. So get these people out and get in people that are willing to cooperate, and I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. Just be good people with open minds and vote on what's best for the people. Not what's best for your party.
I like that a lot. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up. And unless there's anything else you want to add, this is the sort of midnight. This is the 11th hour before the election.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But personally, I have faith in the American people. Go inside. Go within your heart, and do what you feel will be best for this country. We are truly at a crossroads right now, where it's going to go either one way or another. I'm not going to say Hillary is perfect and Hillary is great, but given the two choices, I am scared. I don't even try not even to think about what a Trump presidency would be like. He has no experience. He is driven. The only reason that he went down this path is for power, for his own personal. He wants the title. He doesn't want the position or the responsibility. So that's
things to keep in mind. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Tim. And
my pleasure.
I encourage everyone to vote tomorrow. And looking forward to see what the future holds and what our next journey is.
Absolutely. Charles, thank you so much. It was so good to see you.
You as well. Definitely. Thank you.